I've had a sort through all of my camping gear and I pulled out a few of the things that I regret buying. So I'm going to show you what they are, tell you why I regret buying them, and show you what I use instead. And we're going to jump straight in with the first of 3 stoves, and it's a Van Gogh compact gas stove. So you'll have seen this on some of my previous videos. I've had it for a while. It cost me 12 quid in the sale at Go Outdoors, I think it was. The reason I regret buying this is because it's quite large and heavy and quite bulky, and I bought it before I discovered the BRS stove. So this is a titanium stove. It costs pretty much the same as the Van Gogh stove. If I fold this out, I can show you the difference there. You can see the difference in size between the two, and the BRS stove weighs about 1/5 of what the Van Gogh stove weighs, and obviously it packs down a lot smaller as well. Now there's nothing wrong with the Van Gogh stove, don't get me wrong, but if you're looking for lightweight stuff that packs down small, I don't think you can go wrong with this BRS stove. So next up, I've got a Everbeam head torch. Now this did break on me, but that's not the reason that I regret buying it. It did work for a while. One of the main reasons I regret buying this is it's got this sensor built into it that turns it on and off. And that could be quite handy if you've got big thick gloves on and you can't find these buttons easily. But what I found was that I kept accidentally turning the torch on and off as I was moving around in the tent or outside, and things were passing in front of the torch. So it's a bit overkill really, I think. And what I use now, you'll have probably seen it in my video a week or 2 ago, is the Decathlon 4-class head torch. It's dead simple to use, it's still rechargeable. It doesn't have loads of bells and whistles that you don't need on it. And it's, again, about the same price as the Everbeam one. So next up is this tarp. Now I bought this mainly as something to throw into my rucksack and use as a shelter. So use walking poles at the front and then run the shelter from the walking poles to the floor. It's fine size-wise, the material's fine, but the first time I used it, the little eyelets in the corner just pulled off the material. And this was about 11 quid from Amazon, so I haven't replaced it yet, but what I would say is if you're looking at tarps, make sure you invest well in them. Go for something like the DD tarps that I know a lot of people use and are really good quality. The cheap ones, or this cheap one that I've tried out anyway, just aren't up to scratch. So next up, I know this is going to be a controversial one, but it's my alcohol stove. And it's a personal choice really. I've bought this and used it a couple of times. It's not a Trangia one, it's a kind of cheap alternative, but it's pretty much exactly the same as the Trangia one. Now I've used this just a couple of times, you'll have seen it in my videos, but when I'm out I don't like to spend ages cooking food up. I'll either have a dehydrated meal or something that just needs water or just needs heating up. And for me this just takes too long to do that. If I was, you know, cooking stuff in frying pans or cooking up steaks, I might look at this again. But for me the gas stove, it's a lot quicker, it's a lot cleaner, you get soot from these as well. And I like to have the control over the flame on a gas stove to turn it up and down. So I know a lot of people swear by these and use them all the time, but for me, personally, it's just not something that I'll be using going forwards. Okay, next up, I really don't know why I bought these, but I've got some titanium tent pegs. So they seemed like a good idea at the time. They're made by Boundless Voyage, got them from AliExpress. And they are just titanium pegs, they're like a V shape. And you know, you think titanium's going to be lightweight, it is lightweight, but when they arrive these pegs are only 2 grams lighter than the pegs that I use anyway. So like I say, I don't really know why I bought these. And they weren't cheap at all. So 6 pegs came out at over 20 quid. And like I say, you're only saving 2 grams per peg, so just had a bit of a mental moment there, I think. Just stick to the normal stainless steel ones. Then I've got another kind of why the hell did I buy that item here. It's a fold away waterproof blanket. As you can see, it folds up really small, folds in on itself basically. And the reason I bought this was to fold out and put in the porch of my tent. And it seemed like a really good idea at the time. It's a decent size. I think it's 1 meter by 60 centimeters. And yeah, like I say, it seemed like a good idea at the time. Best intentions of using it, and I just never have. So the fact that I've never used it just shows that I didn't really need it in the first place, I think. So next up we've got the third and final stove. This is a Lixada stove, and I bought this because I wanted something that was a decent size, that would hold a pan or a decent sized frying pan steady. And as you can see, this one's got a really big ring on it and a really big cooking area. And I bought this just before I discovered the Fire Maple remote canister stove. So this does still attach to your gas canister, so you need feet on your canister. And it's not massively stable, because even with the feet on a canister, the width of it at the top. This means that it's a little bit unsteady. The remote stoves are obviously a lot more sturdy, and I have seen reports of these transferring heat from the stove down to the canister, so there's questions over the safety of this kind of stove as well, I think. And similar to the Van Gogh stove, it's really quite heavy stove, and it's quite a big size as well to keep in your pack, so stick with the BRS over that one as well. Another kind of spontaneous purchase that I don't really know why I bought, and it's this Trespass pillow. So I bought this because the inflatable Trachology one that I've used for ages is not as comfortable as your pillow that you'd sleep on at home, and this is more like a standard pillow. So it's filled with fibres, not inflatable, and it fluffs up. So I thought I'd give one of those a go. I didn't realise that the pack size was so big. So that's the Trespass one, and that's the Trachology one. Always check dimensions when you buy things online. And shortly after buying that, I had a bit of a kind of facepalm moment where one of my subscribers said that they use a buff and put a buff over the top of their inflatable Trachology pillow, and it gives you the same sort of feeling, that material cotton feeling. So I do that now, stuck to the Trachology pillow, and I just put a buff over the top of it. So they're my main buying regrets. Comment below and let us know what you've bought that you regret buying. If you want to see some of the things that I do like, check out this video here, and I'll see you in the next one.